All right. Thank you to this room, and welcome to your invitation to Creatordale. You guys can cheer for that one. My name is Nathan Colombo, and this is a concept that has been in the works for many, many years, not based off of any particular talent or capability that I have, but based off of the observation of the capabilities and talents, like I said, of everybody in this room and of so many people all over this town and all over this region, and the opportunity that we have to reshape just some sliver of industry in Southern Illinois around a valuable and ever-growing industry, media creation. And when I say media creation, what does that mean? That means a broad spectrum of activity, not just filmmakers, not just musicians, not just TikTokers or live streamers. I'm talking about a critical mass of everybody. And that's what we're about to experience as we get into this presentation talking about Creatordale. So, what is Creatordale? Creatordale is an initiative to organize creative resources in a meaningful way, of which this room is exemplary. It's a collective of individuals, organizations, businesses, and institutions. That is to say, we can all stand singularly, or we can all be together in one big group, working both towards our own interest, but also the interest of everybody collectively. And last, a chance to create a new media industry in Carbondale and greater Southern Illinois. In a mission statement, Creatordale's mission is to grow a new media production industry in Carbondale. Creatordale is a grassroots project and will accomplish this mission by rallying the resources and talents of individuals and institutions to realize projects at scale. That is to say, we can start small with just a cell phone, but we have the ability to grow into real opportunity, a real film and television industry, a real music production industry, a real ability to draw in revenue through things like YouTube, or Facebook bonuses, or TikTok, whatever it may be. There are so many ways to generate commerce with media now. The opportunities are truly endless. Who are the folks that are going to participate in Creatordale? Beyond just yourselves as the folks in this room today, we're talking about people with talent, performers, creators, and subject matter experts, right? The folks that may not be themselves right now creating media, but have so much knowledge in their mind that is valuable to the world around them that it would be a disservice to this world if we did not find a way to put it on film and share it with the rest of the world. Entities with need to develop and draw on an emerging talent pool. Again, that talent pool is here. And the people who need to tap into this talent pool, they exist, both locally, regionally, nationally, globally. And we're going to talk about all that as we get into this conversation as well. And then those on a mission to create here what they're inspired by elsewhere, right? We hear a lot of talk in Southern Illinois about what we are relative to what exists around the country, right? And I think that is a great place to be, talking about the places that we think we can and should emulate. And Creatordale is part of that, recognizing what we can be because we've seen it happen elsewhere, which means there's nothing stopping us from making this happen here. So people with talent. A whole number of folks, right? Media makers, videographers, sound engineers, photographers, animators, the list goes on. We have at least one of each of those folks in this room right now. Content creators, and this is kind of where I fall into line here because I'm not talented like the media makers. I'm just a guy who talks in the microphone and hopes for the best with a little bit of grainy footage on the other side of things. Podcasters, live streamers, social media makers, on-air personalities, TikTokers, audience builders, all sorts of folks fit into that category. Performers, people that may find themselves in the more traditional space of production and creation. Musicians, comedians, actors, dancers, speakers, singers, magicians, athletes. They perform for us live, but we should have them captured through media just the same because those things that happen live are part of our lives. And we should make sure that we are projecting that into the world around us. Production professionals, writers, costumers, makeup artists, light engineers, builders, producers, folks that actually get the work done. Not to say that media makers don't get the work done, but there's at least one makeup artist in here that knows what their value is this evening, right? It is all about those production professionals that make things go. And then this last concept, I'm excited to bring up Matt Gordon from the Digital Expressions Lab at SIU to talk about the idea of domain experts and just exactly what they are accomplishing at SIU with their actions. So please give Matt a warm welcome to the microphone.
So I'm going to have to adjust the mic. Can you all hear me okay? Good deal. Well, hello. And first of all, I want to thank everybody for having the chutzpah, the initiative, right, to come out here to the inaugural meeting of Creatordale. There's a lot more folks who have heard about this initiative than are actually in this room, right? And that's the sort of energy that this whole grassroots collective is going to reward. So as Nathan has said, there's a diverse amount of talent here dispersed among your fellow community members, be you business owners, students, otherwise in the performing arts or not. And you're all domain experts, this term that Nathan introduced, and a term that a mentor of my own introduced me to. Domain experts is not a commonly used term, but it can be an incredibly powerful term, right? I don't know how many things you consider yourself an expert in, but we all need to give ourselves more credit, especially in kind of the contemporary age of amateur productions, streaming media, right? It doesn't take a lot to get a quality product out there. And if you're a part of this production today, as our crew is, you have sound experience, you have videography, lighting, presentation, you have technical writing, you have kind of the oratory experience, right? It takes a lot of skills to make something as simple as standing up before all of you today and talking happen. And most of you have those skills, maybe not all of them, and most of you who have those skills can do them at a level of proficiency or beyond what we're doing here today. And it's not too many steps forward to arrive at a full-fledged film production, to create an entirely equipped media space where you can be broadcasting yourself for whatever entertainment or academic content, which is kind of my vein, or to serve commercial purposes. So myself, I'm the graduate director of the Digital Expressions Lab. We're an offshoot of the creative writing department. We're being incorporated into the College of Liberal Arts starting next semester as the Center for Virtual Expressions, right? And what we do as digital expressors, as the expressors of virtual media, we take domain experts in, students, mostly anyone in the SIU system, and we talk to them, right? We talk to them and we get them excited. The best thing I see on a daily basis is a student, a faculty member, a pre-med student, so a future doctor, coming in with their head in the clouds, telling me about their massive, impossible, unwieldy vision. And I say, okay, let me put you on a path. Let me put some barriers up. Let me start moving you in an effective direction as a producer. And I work with those students. I put up this kind of little barrier and I say, okay, this has been a great meeting. Come on back. Let's talk again. And some of them do, most of them don't, as you can see with the number in this room versus the number of folks that I know about this meeting. A little rain didn't keep you all away, and that means a lot. So those folks come back, I work with them, and eventually they create a product. And suddenly, a history graduate student has a fully fledged vertical slice of their game. Not a gamer. Maybe they played Assassin's Creed a little bit for the historical component. Yeah, thank you, someone, for recognizing what I'm talking about. But definitely not a gamer, right? And they're able to bring their historical expertise to the games industry and tell a story that's being overlooked. They're a domain expert. They receive training. They receive this sort of collection and cultivation and growth and community that a space like mine, my lab, offers. And so I'm here today working with Nathan and Brand Advocacy Group, and the entire Dunn Richmond Center ecosystem that gets created, right, to support an initiative and to support you all in creating media, to recognize yourselves as domain experts, as intelligent, creative individuals who might have unwieldy projects in the back of your mind. You know, if you have a 7-film epic, we'll get you there. It might take a few years, and we might start with audio fiction. We might start talking about pitch decks. We might introduce you to some actors, so when you're planning your incredible love scenes or your incredible massive battles that, you know, rival Game of Thrones, you talk to their experience and you start to scale and make it accessible to the people that are going to support your vision, to the sorts of domains and the skills you're going to need to realize your incredible vision. So we're going to do a lot of the same things over the course of these meetings, keeping this initiative live, to do the same things I do in my lab, which is get your head in the clouds, and that's what today is about, and then we're going to put you down the road. We're going to all work together. We're going to create a forum where anyone can come in and talk about their projects, right? Talk about the strides you made. Have you been cracking away at OBS to try to broadcast yourself from home? Have you learned how to assess your lighting situation, right? Have you improved your audio? Have you improved your oratory skills, your speech? What have you? We're going to bring you in and we're going to communicate. We're going to gas each other up. And if we're doing our job right, monthly is the dream here. We're going to be gassing each other up and we're going to turn out products, right? We're going to keep each other on track. We're going to keep each other to task. And when you're looking for a graphic designer, when you're looking for an audio expert who can meet you where you are as an amateur for the love of creating media, you're going to have the chance to work together to create something beyond the scope, beyond the vision of what you can do by yourself locked away in your home, right? The sequestered artist is a model that never worked. It's a model that will never work. And it's not a revolutionary idea to think that great pieces of media require the cooperation of great artists. And typically, great artists don't stay in their lane. So we're all going to work together as domain experts. We're going to recognize each other as domain experts, what skills we bring to the table, and we're going to make something greater than any one of us could do on our own. So that's my invitation for you all, to stay involved with Creatordale, to honor this vision, this grassroots initiative, and make something beyond which you've otherwise been capable, right? We're going to seize the dreams each of us have. That's my offer. Does that sound good to everybody? Okay. And as Nathan said, we are poised in an excellent position, central to a lot of media industry, where if we start creating our own opportunities and honoring our neighbors and the skills we bring to the table, we have these paths, we have these hooks out to greater attention. We just need to strike those chords, right? And we can't do that without a product, without evidence. So that's what we're going to do now. We're going to talk a little bit more. Nathan, I thought he was going to take the stage with me, but I feel utterly abandoned. We're going to talk a little bit more about everyone's next steps. So thank you for having me here. I appreciate it.
Please get up for Matt. That was always my shortcoming, as a comedy host, is I do not adjust the microphone stands appropriately. Shame on me. I'm sorry, Bryce, in the background there, one of my fellow comedian buddies. And I've got to say, without Mike Arthur, I would be nowhere in all of this. But without Matt's kicking the butt a couple months ago, this presentation wouldn't be happening right now. So thank you again, Matt. I really appreciate you. So that's people with talent, right? And then we've got entities with need. Who are our entities with need? Well, that's starting off media organizations, right? That's anything from your local television stations like KFES 12 and TV3, which it was exciting to see TV3 represented at Charlie Queen's launch of CinemaClick this weekend, as well as the excitement that we received from the folks at KFES TV this morning when we were in Cape Girardeau for a little bit of morning news activity. To folks like our business, Brand Advocacy Group, to folks like Basic Expert Films. I'm going to keep picking on Charlie because he's right here and he's easy access and he's coming up here shortly. So media organizations locally that produce activity. Local businesses, right? If we're talking about commerce, where does that commerce start? It starts in our backyard. It starts with recognizing the value of what we're creating as a whole and its application to furthering standard commerce of any kind throughout the area, because you cannot survive in this day and age without media. Every business is their own business, but every business is also a media business. And then venues and locales, right? One of the wonderful things about Southern Illinois is the venues that we have and the places where we can produce content. The world around us is our setting. And then external entities, production companies from outside of the region that can bring real, scaled production and recognize the value of all of our resources. We're talking about content markets where we can actually take the brands and the individuals that we develop as creators and figure out what in that broader internet world can we latch onto and generate revenue from, right? There are so many opportunities in content markets right now. Distribution platforms and networks, right? Whether we work with somebody else to publish our material or whether we self-publish and find ways to generate revenue from that. There are opportunities. And then large brands and businesses, right? I'm not going to pretend like I don't want Kroger involved in this because I want to make little skits about the Kroger parking spot. It's just funny and fun. For those of you who aren't from the area and don't know the Kroger parking spot, I'll explain that one to you after the presentation. And those on a mission, right? Starting off with folks like Matt and SIU at educational institutions. But this goes right into our local school districts, right? I'm really excited for once I was actually able to get my kids out of the household. But lucky them, they're in like the one line of sight where they can't see me and I can't see them. But there is an abundant amount of talent in our school system here in Carbondale and Southern Illinois, and to recognize that and to nurture that and to understand if we plant the seeds now for these children to recognize their talents, that when they grow and they blossom and they go elsewhere and their roots expand and they're able to do more, that they will look back to Carbondale and say, I owe this place something, and maybe I should bring just a little bit of it back. Economic development groups, right? Well represented because we're in the business incubator. But there are so many economic development groups that exist in all different capacities, large and small, throughout Southern Illinois, that utilizing their resources and their connections to move this forward is going to be essential. And then clubs and organizations, folks that are just already organized, already working towards missions, and how do we ingrain media in their activities and their missions. So key project elements, there are kind of two buckets that fit into all of this. Conceptual elements, the ideas that inform Creatordale, and then practical elements, the things that have to be functional, the requirements for success. Conceptual elements, three key points here. Place as a studio, multi-sectional creation, and livable media. For place as a studio, as far as I'm concerned, if there's a camera in front of it, it is a studio. As somebody commented on one of the posts about Creatordale a couple days ago, Hollywood is everywhere, right? And we have the ability to capitalize on that. Public and private space, organizable for production. Whether that is a business storefront, a streetscape, a office building, whatever it may be, it is usable as a studio. Or somebody's kitchen, looking back here at, your stage name is Chili. I love it. Thank you to the Davises for being part of this. I appreciate you guys skipping your own television premiere to be here for this meeting this evening. I'm truly appreciative. Multi-sectional creation, right? So we hear a lot in academia about the idea of intersectional, right? The crossover between fields of study and what happens when we intersect at places. But multi-sectional creation is this idea of living in different spaces simultaneously, right? How do you create across storylines and bring those together? How do you create across different platforms and ensure that you're fulfilling the needs in each of those platform spaces, across projects and all sorts of creative activities? How do we live in different pockets of activity and bring our overall value, our overall critical mass of creation to a head? And then livable media. This is by far my favorite concept because I think it's one of the things we have to offer best to the world around us, is the idea that we can develop media that is representative of a true experience on the ground here in Carbondale and surrounding Southern Illinois, and that people can come here having observed the media that we've created, and they're not going to experience it one-to-one because we're going to embellish a little bit, and we're going to put our creative spin on things, but they're going to be able to have an experience that is representative of what they have lived in the media that they've consumed, and that will enrich their overall interaction with our physical space here. And then practical elements, the stuff that we have to do to make this work. Collaboration, working collectively to inspire, create, refine, and produce projects. I think Matt touched on that perfectly. Completion, we have to take things to the finish line. And then we have to repeat. Again, I go back to Charlie, because one of the things Charlie said when he launched Cinema Click on Saturday was, we've got to complete projects. If we don't complete, we don't compete. And we want to be competitive, so we've got to get to the finish line. And then commerce, because this has to be more than a hobby. If we're going to be successful, there has to be dollars assigned to that in all sorts of ways, whatever way we can find it, because media has a multitude of ways to earn in this day and age. So what are our stages of Creatordale? I look at it as 3 stages here, stage 1, 2, and 3, because, well, that's how new numbers work. Identify, organize, and create, stage 1. Stabilize, monetize, and progress, stage 2. And reinvest, attract, and develop, the stage 3. Oh, don't die on me now, clicker. All right, stage 1. Identifying interested participants with talent, needs, and missions. That's this room right here, and so many more people that are reached by this message already. Organizing participants to contribute to and draw value from one another, so we're actually making sure that we have the way to get to the stages of completion because we have our ducks in a row. And then create media and develop audiences. We have to create to make this work. And with that, I want to introduce Charlie Queen, who is the award-winning short film maker for his film Mort. He is the industry builder behind Basic Expert Films, and he is the man who launched the Southern Illinois Filmmakers Club, Cinema Click. Please welcome Charlie Queen.
Hello. I'm glad I dressed up for the event. If you don't know me, I'm Charlie Queen. I'm a local filmmaker. I do a lot of other things as well. I'm a producer. I'm a photographer. I'm an audio production specialist. I've produced multiple bands and things like that since I've lived here. But yeah, we recently made a film here. A bit of background, I grew up near Springfield, Illinois. Every immediate member of my family has gone to SIU, including my brother, who's one of my partners, sitting at a table over here. We have all come through SIU. I didn't finish SIU. College wasn't right for me, and that's all right. But I did move away. I lived in Southern California. I worked in the commercial film industry for about 3 years. My wife, Lauren, who's also one of my partners, she couldn't make it tonight. She worked and lived there with me. My brother lived in LA and Denver. We've worked in major, film industries and kind of seen how things are done. We all made a conscious decision at the beginning of the pandemic to come back to Carbondale with a goal to come here to make films about Southern Illinois stories, about people from Southern Illinois using the incredible, unique locations that are available here. And that is what led to making Mort. So Mort is a horror comedy short film we shot in the country just outside of Murfreesboro last year. It's gone on to win 6 awards so far. It's in a number of other film festivals. It's been selected by over 30 film festivals across the country. Awards including Best Picture at the Austin Comedy Film Festival. Not just rinky-dink stuff. We're getting some actual recognition. It was made in conjunction with a production team from San Diego, where I used to work. We kind of have a San Diego-Carbondale connection going on now. But this was just a stepping stone for us. It wasn't really to make money. It was to be a calling card. It was a rung in a ladder, right, to pull ourselves up to the next level. And it's working as exactly that. Since Mort has kind of received this recognition, it's spawned a number of other projects. A lot of the stuff that Nathan has been talking about, making Mort alone was not something I just did. It was an insanely huge collaborative effort from over 20 locals, artists. You know, we had our small 3 or 4 people from San Diego in to help, but I think it was 20 plus artists from Carbondale collaborating, about like 12 of which are somewhere in this crowd right now. So it was a big group effort. It was a lightning in a bottle situation. It was an exercise in making a lot out of a little. And I think people recognize that. And that's kind of where media creation is now. Anyone can do it. You can make a lot with a little, with just a little bit of ingenuity and a little bit of networking and a little bit of help and creativity. And so since then, this has launched a number of other projects. I'll tell you about a few of those that we have upcoming as our film company, Basic Expert. The first one is Cinema Click, which Nathan mentioned. We started a filmmakers club locally. It's nonprofit. It's open to everyone. The idea is to help our own filmmaking efforts and those of other people who want to learn to make films by enriching you with skills. We're actually offering workshops that are free for training, as well as doing film projects. We are actually shooting a short film written by Andy Farmer, who was the star of Mort. He's sitting right here at this table. We're going to be shooting that in probably August. So anyone who wants to be involved with an award-winning team to make a short film, you can do that by coming and joining our club. Not only that, we're just making a database of, kind of similar to what Nathan's doing here, of people who have skills, talents, art that they can lend to our filmmaking team. So by signing up for the club, you get on our newsletter for all of our productions, and we actually hire people. We also take volunteers from that list. So it's a good way to get involved with working in the industry and actually possibly even make some money. But a number of other projects we have going on. We have a documentary in conjunction with the University Museum about Chuck Swedland that we are in pre-production. Chuck Swedland is a photography professor. He's 99 years old. He taught at SIU for years. He's a historian of film photography and film photography development. Super important guy. I, as a photographer, find him super inspiring, and he's having his final show. So we're working with the university to do a little documentary about Chuck Swedland. Mort was picked up by a company called Bloody Disgusting. They're a larger horror blog and company in conjunction with their app Screambox TV. And actually their kind of television programming director, Tony Wash, is here with me today, sitting at our table, down from Chicago. And so we're working on a number of projects with them. So Mort is going to be on their show Bloody Bites this summer. It'll be available on Screambox app and a bunch of other apps, Pluto, Sling. But not only that, their whole film crew is down here this weekend, and we are actually shooting a new title sequence for that TV show. So there's a professional production in Murfreesboro right now. There's 10 of us. We're here doing TV production this weekend. It's a fully paid gig. So the industry is starting to come here slowly. Kind of the next step with that, with Screambox and with Tony Wash, is that we have been pitching a television show based on a Southern Illinois story. That is, as of now, soft greenlit, and it's going to be original content for Screambox TV app. It is a horror show. We're going to be shooting it hopefully January, February next year. And I mean, this will be a full-scale television production. It's going to bring a number of jobs, a large amount of, paychecks. We're going to hire locally. We're going to make a lot with a little. They saw how we were able to do that, and that's part of the reason they selected us to, make this show that we've been pitching. So we have just kind of started a snowball, and now it is turning into the base of a snowman, right? And now we need all of you to be the carrots and the charcoal and the sticks and everything else to build the rest of the snowman. Is that am I mixing too many metaphors? Anyway, that's me. That's kind of what I have going on. I think that this is a great opportunity for that. I think a number of these people will probably end up working on these types of projects with us. We're not the only ones. People are coming back to Carbondale. Like Nathan said, they feel like they owe this place a little bit of something. And it's kind of unique, right? We all know there's something like a little different here than everywhere else in the Midwest or the South. It's like we don't fit squarely into either. We have this awesome progressive community of artists and creators. We all have these mixed skills so like we can make something really incredible together. If you want to check out Mort or you want to sign up for CinemaClick to be on our mailing list, come grab me after the meeting and I'll send you a link and we'll do that together and we'll network. And yeah, thanks for listening to me talk about myself. It's really uncomfortable. Thanks.
Awesome. So now I have confirmation, because I don't usually adjust the microphone stand for people taller than me, that I both either direction. So that's Charlie. Stage 2, stabilize and continually develop a maturing talent pool, right? This is an ongoing thing. You don't just start it and then it just works. This has to be constant. Monetize. How do we take all of our skills, our products, our platforms, and our projects and turn them into actual money? At the end of the day, it's about turning this into an actual industry. I have a business mentor that I've had for well over a decade now. I have lunch with him on a just about weekly basis. And every week I get the same spiel. It's just a hobby. It's just a hobby. Show me something investable. Show me something that can scale. And I'll tell you whether or not it's a real business. But right now it's a hobby. And I'll tell you, I'm really looking forward to the day that I can sit down with him and say, it's not a hobby anymore, because that's coming. Again, this room is evident of that. Kathy's over there smiling because she knows. And then progress toward an investment-worthy new media environment. I just gave you my little trauma story there, so I don't have to go too deeper into that. So what is getting us that direction on our end, right, is this company of mine and Mike's brand advocacy group that I founded in 2014, quite frankly, because Lance Jack wanted me to manage his social media at Fat Patty's, RIP. So what do we do at Brand Advocacy Group to generate revenue? Albeit not a lot. There is still money enough to pay for a studio upstairs and cover our phone bills and buy a few trinkets here and there. We actually are part of the Facebook Bonuses program. That occurred last June without any preemptive warning. Facebook just said, you've produced enough content in a way that we appreciate, and we're going to allow you to make money off that content now. So again, we don't make a lot of it, but we make enough to pay the rent. Marketing agency services, right? So anything that a business needs marketing-wise, if we don't do it in-house, we can source it and we can put it together. If you're a media agency, there's a good chance that you're a marketing agency just the same. Television as a service, as we've kind of coined it, this broadcast live stream service, what we're doing right now, as you see set up, this is a studio. Yes, you have the live production aspect here where you're hearing the sound in the room, but we've got our cameras, we've got our lights, and there are folks that have joined us out online, I hope, all three of them streaming to right now. And then live event production, right? So we do concerts, we do comedy shows, we do anything that has to do with bringing an audience together, getting them to pay an admission charge, and then providing them solid entertainment on the other side. Some of our accomplishments include over 200 hours of media produced since 2020. If you just press the live stream button and let it run, it's real easy to get up to that 200 hours. And then production support for 3 internationally streaming media products, and we'll talk about those here in a second as well. And then stage 3, right? What does stage 3 look like? This is really the growth stage. To reinvest what we're able to develop here in our local creative environment to build that production capacity, to attract outside interest in seeking access to our local talent pool, and then developing that infrastructure to accelerate production and capture revenue potential. I promise you, I am trying to turn a chunk of that mall into a studio. I don't know how it's going to happen. It may just be a dream for now, but that is what I want to see, is a good chunk of some of our old anchor stores at the University Mall utilizes production space, because it's large, open areas that we can do this with, centrally located and a draw to people around us. It's an idea. We'll see if it works. If not, maybe I'll go to Tossis and see what chunk of the recycling center we can get for, for a film production studio. So what's this timeline look like in my mind? Everything's fluid. 2023 to 2026, we're building that talent pool. We're building brands and we're completing projects, starting off with a couple years early on. Then we're moving to 2026 through 2029. utilizing critical mass of activity to develop that industry, really figuring out what all the right buttons are to push to get to the next stages. And then 2029 and beyond is to really dig into the creation of that physical infrastructure that allows us to sustain industry. Again, our little studio upstairs is just kind of a practice shot at that. We got 600 square feet and tall ceilings and a green screen that it's taken me 2 years to not build yet, but that's okay. We're going to get there. Step by step, we're going to figure out what the things are at scale that inhibit us to do large-scale growth. And then we're going to go conquer the world. So examples of opportunity. I should have probably put in another slide to get us here, but jumping into examples of opportunity. These are a mix of a couple different things. You'll be okay, Claire. Don't worry about it. So mix of a couple different things and examples of opportunity. These are things that I see that are potential, right? But also some things that have happened that prove potential. So Claire's story is a little bit of both, right? Claire is already on her way to becoming a nationally visible cultural figure rooted in Carbondale. As she develops an online following, there's an opportunity for her to monetize the value of her speech and draw attention to Carbondale with her presence, right? That is a seeding activity where what she does here can draw in resources from outside because of her position in our community and in the culture at large.
Thank you all at home for watching. We appreciate you viewing, and have a good rest of your Pride.
All right, so maybe that one wasn't as loud as it needed to be. That's okay. We'll see if I'm on the right television. All right. There we go. We'll hear the next one. Another great example of opportunity here. Carbondale native Danny Damien has developed a monetized multi-million person following by traveling to different cities and taking whimsical photographs of people in public. Just had him on the podcast a couple months ago while he was home. And the hope is that Danny's occasional returns to Carbondale are going to yield an opportunity to create hometown content and put a lens on Carbondale that highlights us to his millions of followers. And if just a sliver of those find interest in what we've got going on here, we've got an audience to work with. There's his plaque that he posted on April 12th for his millionth subscriber on YouTube. It's attainable. A year ago, I don't think Danny had any inkling that this was going to happen, but now it's real. Another example of opportunity, this one I really like. Venues like Hangar 9, the Varsity Center, Route 51 Brewery, they're all broadcast environments. We can increase the content velocity of our local performers. We can offer a value add to people routing their gigs through here, and we can create industry networking opportunities that bring more industry opportunity here. You may know this next person if you have seen anything going on about Marion City Hall in the past couple weeks. We actually got a chance to do a live recording. Oh no. Oh no. Now it's not, there we go. There we go. We actually got to do a live recording at Route 51 Brewery a couple months ago and meet Dave Finley, one of the partners in Chris. Oh, shoot. Why did I just forget Chris's last name? Mike, help me out here. Thank you. Chris Harris and Dave Finley have gone in together to open up this new venue in downtown Marion.
And girls and boys, raise your voice. Everybody make a joyful noise. Normally I had to do that twice, but that was perfect.
It's experiences like this that Dave has had as an industry insider and a successful career musician that has drawn him to Southern Illinois to invest his time, talent, and treasure in our communities here. Again, Charlie Queen, phenomenal example, makes a short film, it wins lots of awards, and now Charlie, through his film, is bringing television and movie production opportunities to Carbondale in Southern Illinois.
Stop and learn your lines. Hey girl, well, let's make a movie. You can be my leading lady beauty. Grab your camera, don't be shy. Things ain't always black and white. We can make this world into our movie. Yeah, these people asking me questions, they like, how did you do it? Now the way we blowing up, it's like a Michael Bay movie.
I promise you that was not the actual movie. That was just a TikTok that I made. And some of those examples I had mentioned earlier of the internationally streaming content that we've produced here in Southern Illinois. Vignesh Kaushik filmed a full-length motion picture in and around Carbondale, while also being a doctoral student at SIU that is streaming on Indian streaming service AHA. And then Sam Rhodes, a good friend of ours from London now, has filmed 2 stand-up comedy specials here in Southern Illinois, both of them streaming on UK-based Next Up Media.
జాబ్ సంగతి ఏమైంది?
జాబ్ సెట్ మామా.
నా వల్ల కాదు.
బానే రికమెండేషన్తో వచ్చిన జాబ్ రా అది. అమెరికాలో సుఖపడాలంటే ముక్కు మూసుకొని దొరికిన పనుల్లా చేసుకుంటూ పోవడమే.
లోకమంతా మారిపోయెను చూడు, డ్రీములన్నీ మింగిపోయెను నేడు, రాత మారుతుందేమో అనుకుంటే
I already told you నాకే రిలేషన్షిప్ వద్దని.
సరిదిద్దలేడు.
Use of mobile phones during work hours is prohibited.
పగిలిపోతున్నా కొడక.
What'd you say?
It means I'm sorry. I won't repeat it again. Indian slang?
If I see your damn face around here again, Nenu Pagalakota.
At the home stretch of them pushing this film out, they were missing about a dozen or so dubbed lines. And I got a phone call from Vignesh. Hey man, really need some help. Can you wrangle voice actors and put them together and do what have you? And so we did. You know, it's just getting an opportunity that when you're called upon to help create, that you're there and you're available, because you never know when that opportunity is going to come through. And as you could tell there, great example of place as a studio, right? International Grocery, SIU campus, right? Real places that exist here that are now memorialized in film as part of a semi-fictitious but very real world. Maybe? Come on, clicker. And then Sam Rhodes.
My name is Sam Rhodes. Thank you very much. Good night.
Thank you to the people of Carbondale, Illinois, for your continued support. I don't know when Sam is going to get his big break, but he keeps working at it. It's going to happen. And when it happens, there's going to be a little piece of his heart that lives right here. And that's going to mean something. All right. I get a lot of questions, I get a lot of criticism about what it is that I do on the internet and what my end goals are, right? This is the bigger end goal. WTF Carbondale isn't the actual product. WTF Carbondale is my contribution to this greater vision. And what do I see for this as part of the Creatordale project? Source material, embellished to create livable media with Carbondale-based sketch comedy. Projects that can lift local creators while drawing in creators that have a relationship with Southern Illinois and Carbondale specifically. Like T. Murph, who a decade and a half ago wasn't T. Murph, second supporting actor on Hulu's hit TV show Woke. He was just T. Murph who told great jokes and worked at Arnett's barbershop, right? These are the relationships with Carbondale that exist. We have to work to capitalize on them.
Southern hospitality will get you an unwelcome hug and a kiss. Midwestern Nice will get you an, oh, let me sneak right past you.
Well, of course we're going to have construction on all the major roads when the students come back into town. We want their parents to know we're working on the place. I got some writing to do. M River, another good example, just had a great viral moment working with practical engineering. They've developed a following on YouTube that's several thousand subscribers deep. And that subscriber base yielded them a visit from a high-profile YouTuber, opening their exposure to millions of folks. And who knows how that's going to be able to support their commerce moving forward for their niche business.
We've teamed up with M River, maker of these awesome stream tables, to show you how this works in real life. And we're here on location at their headquarters. I'm Grady, and this is Practical Engineering.
Practically millions of followers. Not practically, effectively millions of followers. And then talking about domain experts. I'm really glad that Kate was able to make it this evening. Thank you for being here, Kate. The Women for Change Miller Tisdale Sewing Room is a great example of where we can get domain experts to lift their expertise, create media around it, and develop followings that are there, that are real, that utilize the value of their expertise and understand that, Kate and Deb, they're characters that deserve to have hundreds of thousands, if not millions of eyeballs on what they're doing and how they enrich this community. It's not a video, just a picture I took as I stopped by to talk to Kate the other day. That in and of itself, place as a studio. And the opportunity is abundant. That's our whiteboard upstairs, just notes jotted down over the years of people, places, things, opportunities to involve in this greater Creatordale vision. So what's next? Recruitment. We identify and onboard creators with Creatordale. We start to proof the model. We incorporate participants, conceptual elements, and practical elements together to test the Creatordale model. And then we network. We gain attention from mission-relevant entities. And we start moving forward. This was a little bit longer than I want it to be. I appreciate you all for taking the time to sit through and digest all this. It's a lot. This is just square one. There's a lot more to come. But that, for this evening, is all. Thank you so much, folks.